Hello everyone, welcome to our Psychology Graduate Association PGS channel. I'm Rachel Goh. Before we begin, I would like to introduce what is psychology. Psychology is the scientific study of human mind and behavior. So we learn everything of human. It is just like we scientifically learn everything of animal from Discovery Channel. I believe that most of us know that resilience is very subjective and depends on the subject matter. So today we have invited volunteers who are professionals to share about their thoughts and stories.
I'm Jocyln here, and I'm a graduate in psychology. A lot of people mention that sometimes I do something else and clearing because now actually I'm working in one of the higher institutions. Actually, my job is as a marketing officer. So a job as a marketing officer is actually somehow to sell out the programs. But for me, sometimes when the people told me that they don't have money to study or having financial issue, then I'll be start looking for those financial assistance information for them. So it's like actually it's not a job for a marketing officer. It's more towards to the student of their part. So another thing is like sometimes when maybe there may be argument when the customer come with their parents because they have a different interest, different opinion. So sometimes the parents might want them to study accounting, but that student might be more interested in mass comm. So they might have some argument in front of me. I will try to counsel them. But I'm not a licensed counselor, but when seeing their situation like that, I will try to calm them down, like try to explain to them, try to calm down their situation. So my colleague and even my superior saw what am I doing. They feel like I'm doing something like beyond what I supposed to do. Kind of like some people might think I'm quite busybody, especially like I go all the way out to find more info for those financial assistance to them. But I don't know why. I feel like sometimes if I'm able to help someone, I feel it's something I feel satisfied for myself. Yeah, that's me.
It is quite good if you because most of the parents they try to find out something that benefit to themselves. They aim for something so that they ask their son or daughter to achieve their own dream. But their son or daughter might not really interested. So it's kind of like you are helping them to find out what actually their son or daughter should grab their own chance or should look into their own interest lah.
Yeah, that should be the right way because maybe parents might feel that they are now working, they know more about the job scope, all those things like is this a job demand or what? But for student, a kid, they are the one who is going to study, they are going to face the exam and everything. So if they have a better interest, then they will have more interest throughout the study. So actually sometimes they have to have a mutual understanding. That's what I feel like.
So far you think that this kind of situation is it very common in the society?
Yeah, it's a very common because based on my experience as a marketing officer, because mostly the student come over, they will ask for the courses. Some students they have the interest on what course they want, and some they might not. Because I noticed some they come, they will ask me like certain courses, but they are not really sure about the future of the course. They just come and ask is for the sake of asking like how many grades they got to get for the SPM and all those things. So it's when I try to ask them like, well, what are you aiming in the future? You want to aim for being for example, I mentioned accountant. So I'll try to ask them, are you aiming to become an accountant, chartered accountant or what? I mean, I did ask certain like that, and they kind of like don't really understand what the whole course is actually about. So if I notice like somehow they don't really understand like what's the whole course about, I will like ask them one question. I will ask, actually just put everything aside, like what kind of situation you like, what kind of environment you like. But sometimes when they say it's like they're saying something different. Some they might say, oh actually I'm interested more like video editing, all those things. So actually that is not accounting, it's more to like broadcasting, all those things. So I tried to explore in then only they told me that actually is their parents asked them to study in this course. So there are some I face is like that. Some is like their parents came and taught more than the student.
Yeah.
Top more than the student. So it's like the parents will say, yeah, you see this is the one that that when I explain example the careers prospect all those things, so the parents like repeat what I said to the kids, then the kids just like not the head all those things. So then when the parents like, I mean, because it's usually it's like in an edu fair or open day, then when the parents like walk not beside the kids or what, then I will try to ask her. I say, actually just now your parents I understand they ask about these courses, but actually what is your interest? So sometimes like most of the time I found out those kids that they are quite silent throughout the conversation. They may say some of the other courses that not what the parents ask and say then tell me honestly that's what their parents want them to study. It's not what they want.
Yeah, quite like they can't do anything for it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's good for children to listen to parents, but they somehow there are certain things they have a limit. Example, if the parents say like don't go out too late, don't go to pub or what is dangerous. Yeah, this one listen is good, but certain things I think children need to have their own decision and they need to have a proper communication
Yeah,
to
yeah.
with the parents, like tell them why they want it and for what reason. And parents also have to be a bit responsible to understand their children. That's why I say mutual understanding is very important.
Yeah. So you also think that communication and understanding is very important for kids and their parents, right?
Mm.
Especially from their what is decided for their future. This communication is more and more important for them.
Mm.
Yeah.
That's my experience when I wanted to study psychology.
Mm-hmm.
My father is a person that is quite supportive. He did mention to me that seems like this course not really I mean, not really well known in Malaysia, but I did explain to him that psychology is not like psychiatrist, it's work in a hospital, all those. Is can be work as a in sales line marketing because if I have to study like consumer behavior is one of it. Then HR department also they need psychologists, mostly under training and development, like all those things. So it's not because a lot of people like my parents last time they thought it's like a psychiatrist and work in a hospital and thought that a psychologist or counselor is to prescribe medicine. So I did explain to my father for that. But for my mom, she's a bit quite reject at that time. Like what she was thinking is in a accounting business line is will be better. But anyhow, I'm able to convince my father. So me and my father, like both of us, try to communicate with my mom. So in the end, she also agreed that I go for this psychology course. So if through my experience, I feel like if there's a proper communication, understanding, things will be better. It's not like it's a must to be forced all those things.
Yeah. So as you mentioned, you need a proper communication. Is there any
Mm.
ways or examples to show like how to do it?
Okay, proper communication actually not just for one party to say something, both also. So I mean, it's like everyone, like in a family, for example, parents and children when they communicate, like the first thing is not to jump to conclusion.
Mm-hmm.
So if once a person jump to a conclusion, make a judgment, no matter what the other person explain, it seems like useless because they already have their own conclusion. So I think most is important is to not to jump to conclusions. Second, try to understand the situation, what that person is thinking, kind of like empathy.
Mm-hmm.
Understand why the kids think in such a way.
Mm.
So the kids also like have to be don't be like because I don't know like somehow children they will be afraid of the parents. Certain things they will tell their friends rather than they open up to their parents. So children got to be brave enough to tell the parents what is inside them, let them understand. I think the most important is not to jump to conclusion first.
Yeah. So as
Mm.
you mentioned previously, your mom is not really like supportive to you about to study psychology. At that time, that moment lah, she still disagree what you feel.
Actually, if I recall, actually I feel scared also.
Okay.
Because it's like the way she taught is like like mom talk to her talking to her daughter is like
Mm-hmm.
trying to hey, I ask you to do this, you better do this, something like that. So but because my father quite understanding, so there's someone to back up me that time.
Okay.
So then I try to explain to her and try to know also on my side here, understand what is her concern. Her concern is that worried that I'm unable to secure a job. So this is one of the concerns. So I explained to her that it's not what they think is about psychiatrists like prescribe medicine all
Yeah.
those. So I explained that yes other possible department jobs that I can move on. So even I explained to her that if I can work under HR, under training and development division there. So I say there are so many companies in Malaysia, they need this kind of people. So it's not that I come out, I can't find a job. Then their center like welfare department, public service. Actually, the government sector also can for psychologists, especially for JKM. Government kebajikan Malaysia, all those things. So I explained to her whether it's a private or government sector, they also need a psychologist.
So you did a lot of research before you, yeah.
I did quite a lot of research.
So, how do you think that if, let's say, some for those parents that they actually arrange for their kids and they did not listen to them and then did not understand them and then they just arrange everything for the kids? What do you think of these situations? How do you think of it?
I think arrangement is if the kid is still young, of course parents is very important to guide and arrange. But when the kids have grown up, especially after they are Form 5, that's the time that they will enter university, whether they want to continue their study or not. That is the moment that the parents need to let go. They can guide, but not to force their children to accept their decision. Unless in a very critical situation, example like maybe the children say that they don't want to continue study or wanted to do something else that might not be very suitable, then that parents can stand for. But in this kind of situation, like what job they wanted to choose, the course, I think this at this kind of moment should let the children to decide. Because after all, human we are not like we are not going to live forever. There's one day, I mean touch wood there will be a day that the parents will not be there anymore. So that they have to train their children to make a wise decision. Whenever what decision they make, they have to know what are the consequences, the pros and cons of it. If something happen, what is there any plan B or plan C?
Yeah.
So I feel parents should somehow slowly let them train up the children to make a wise decision for themselves. Even actually at a teenage time is also the time to let them to think wisely, because somehow some teenager they might be doing something for seeking for like approval. They want to show themselves that they are becoming like an adult, all those things. So that's the time also need to guide them properly to make a wise decision. Because usually adolescent that moment they seems like I think they say like searching for identity somehow like that. They want themselves to be recognized, to be what is their decision to be approved, all those things. But at that moment it's also based on the social environment. If the children is always very dependent to the parents or what, they might not be able to think out of the box. But if that kid is in an environment like always see a lot of situation outside, what are the things happening, they are more aware that kind, they might be able to make a better decision for certain things. So that the parents have to guide them. Maybe they have to guide them.
How about there is some situation like the parents did something to them and arrange for them and they just follow, but at the end they found out that it's not my interest. What do you think of this situation?
You mean is they study or certain arrangement? I mean their decision. Not just about study, right?
Yeah, not just about study, but mostly it's study lah. Because during the study, mostly during my young age, they also like that. They like mention, okay, you go for these courses, you might be like, okay, you might have this job in future or anything. And after we study about half, then we found out, hey, no, this is not what I'm interested. So we'll be kind of creating stress or creating like helpless what I'm going to do next. So what is your opinion on this situation?
There are two scenarios. One is they put a full stop, I mean the children, they full stop, meaning they will tell directly to their parents that I can't follow because I thought it's really not my interest and I'm unable to cope or unable to cope that situation or something. So they will tell their parents. But throughout that struggle,
Yes.
throughout that struggle for their something that they don't want to do, is like every day they are facing something that they dislike, they have to crack their head to move on. So it will create stress for that.
Yeah.
Another situation is that the children dare not to tell their parents like honestly what's happening. So they will just like find whatever way to move on as what their parents have been decided for them. So for this situation, I think that is even worse because they will be even more stressed. It's not there's no guarantee when is the end time for them facing all this. If it's talking about the study, yeah, they they study, they graduate, maybe it's like 4 years. 4 years they are struggling, but after that, when towards to the job, because of their qualification, they may not get the job that they want, their interest. They have to move on. It's like continuous moving on throughout their life, something that they dislike. So this will it's like ongoing create a stress for them. If overly stressed, they might make them fall under depression because they feel like they might be feel like they are useless,
Yeah.
like lonely, no one understand them, all those things because they unable to cope with the situation. Unable to cope because they don't have interest. It's not that they are poor performance or what. They just not their interest to cope with it. So, but certain people will feel that once they can't cope with it, can't face it, it seems like they are quite useless. They will ask, why am I so useless? I can't settle this thing, I can't solve this issue, something like that. So this overly stress might fall into depression for them.
So as we know that stress is sometimes is like whenever you can cope with it, okay, this stress will be a good stress, which makes you more like gaining other skills or knowledge that you are not interested, but you can get the skills. And another stress is it will develop into a depressions, feel of worthless, feel of helpless and everything, and might cause
Yeah.
serious case is like maybe suicide. So
Yeah.
what does actually stress mean for you?
Stress is like there are good and bad. Good one, as just now mentioned, right?
Mm.
The good kind of stress is able to make a person to like move on doing something, to be like motivate doing something. Example, give an example of my experience. Like example, last time when I was studying, is like when I know that that's the tomorrow I have to hand out the assignment. So
Mhm.
because of the stress, it's like all of a sudden I was stressed in the sense that I was motivated to look for info and settle that as kind of that is a good thing. But the bad stress will cause a person like feel useless, all those things, and also will make a person get angry easily because they are overly stressed. So for this kind of situation, example, get angry easily, this will affect those people around them because they'll start throwing temper on others.
Yep.
Then after that, there's additional thing that stress, they might not be able to sleep properly, unable to eat properly. So this also will affect their health. My experience last time when my father is still around.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a time that he was diagnosed with the kidney failure. So he had to undergo the hemodialysis that time. Because had to pay for the dialysis and also pay for the medical fees.
Mm-hmm.
Monthly there are some medicine he has to buy. So those kind of financial issues. So it's a stressful. So all these things like affecting not just me have to earn more money. It's also affect my parents' emotion, including my mom. So sometimes when I work and go back home, before I enter the house, like at the gate there, I might be hearing them like quarrel, arguing. Because these are sickness has caused my father emotion affected. He seems like get angry very easily. Then my mom taking care of a person is not feeling well, like my father that have a sickness. Also, she have her own stress. So it's like quite unhealthy for the whole family. A lot of negative element. So when my father can't control his feelings sometimes, so he will start to throw temper. Besides dialysis, he have diabetes. A lot of food is very restricted.
Yes.
So I will also tell him certain intake food he can't eat. He feel unhappy about it. He like to eat that food, but he cannot take it. So sometimes he will scold me and throw harsh words. Example, like say, now you go up already, you think you're very good. You can ask me not to do this and that, something like that. So sometimes he might say even more hurting. He will say like, so suffer to become a human. Better I go and die, something like that. So when I heard all these things, I will feel quite sad also, and sometimes I don't know how to handle him. I might be just keep quiet when he's getting very emo.
It's quite suffer.
Yeah, quite suffer for the dialysis patient. That's why somehow like my father, like I know that his temper got affected, seriously got affected by this dialysis. He really will get angry very fast. When we restrict them for anything, he will get annoyed, get angry. So for me, I will try to be empathy and understand his situation. I will try my best during that time, but whatever is it, I still have my emotions. So
Yeah.
sometimes when he's already throwing temper, I do feel hurt and get angry too. But I will choose to keep quiet if I feel that I can't face his anger because I know that at that time, if I'm also quite emo, if I say out something, it will hurt my father or my mom.
Yeah.
So my mom also will be very taking care of the cleanliness, but she herself, because have to keep on washing this and that, kind of like sometimes she will get annoyed also and will start mumbling, nagging my father if my father doing something not clean, like didn't wash his hand, then start to touch the tube, do the bandage, all those.
So how do you
Mm.
cope with this situation? Because you mentioned you also have your own emotion, right? How do you cope
Mm.
with it? Other than just being silent.
Okay. Other than being silent, is like when I feel very stressed, I will listen to the music and watch movie. So those music that I choose, movie that I watch, I won't watch those like very emotional, those very touching kind of movie. I will choose those comedy movie. Listen to the music that the lyrics are happy.
Mm.
Because I feel that if I'm in that situation, quite emo that time, if I still watching those like sad movie or those broken heart movie, it will affect my emotion even more. Another thing will be I have my own blog, private. I will write at the blog there what's happening, my feeling, all those things. I will throw whatever inside my mind, whether it's like telling my problems or annoy, want to throw some anger, all those things. I will write at the blog there.
Mm.
Other than that, I will find my best friend and my boyfriend to tell about. But for this one, I won't be always using it because I know that even for my friend or my boyfriend, they themselves really they have their own issue too. So I don't really want to put in additional negative elements unless at that moment I need someone to give me some opinion or really need a human sound to comfort me. Then I will tell them what is happening.
So other than that, do you have anything you want to add on?
I want to add on is that maybe those people outside, then I know they are outside, there are people who are taking care of their family members who may be diagnosed with various kind of disease, quite serious one.
Mhm.
I think the most thing is to understand their situation. Although we feel like why should I understand them and not them understand me, but if we are able to play the part, we try to understand them so that is to minimize the argument or quarrel or those things. If we don't understand, like example, my father when he's trying to throw something quite harsh or those things, if I don't really understand the situation, why he's doing like that, I will like even feel stressed and depressed for that.
Yeah.
I will wear like his shoes, I will understand him. All of the sudden he has so many restrictions, get weak, all those things. And my mom like all of the sudden burdened with taking care of a person who is unhealthy. So by understanding them, I will feel better. Even they might say something that is quite hurt to me. Besides understanding them, I will think of some happy moments with them.
So when you think of happy moments with them, you also can decrease the emotion for yourself to get into their emotions.
Mhm.
So it means that however we try to like communicate with people, communicate with people with serious diagnosis, and they however they still have some emotion will come out or stress will come out during that
Yeah,
situation. But
yeah,
just we need to have skills or a thing that we can express in a good way so that we won't hurt any other people.
yeah. We need to have something enable us to jump out of that stress moment. It's not like because we are human, for sure there are a lot of things we will face today. But it's not that when we face the whole day we are locked into that feeling, that situation. I mean that kind of negative situation. Example for stress. We need to do something. We jump out of the stress, able to calm us down, make us cool down. It's not like something happened for that 1 minute, then the whole day we lost interest for everything. We have to distress ourselves, or not to like keep on having stress in our life.
Thank you for listening to us. That is all from our PGA volunteer. If you'd like to share or go online, please do not hesitate to leave us a message below. We hope to provide more assistance. Please like and share and subscribe our channel. See you in the next video.